You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.
Okay, over to the phones now after that trail for Denisa, who should be following us after Boots, Bats and Balls. We've got Steve Norris on the phone. Steve, morning, how are you, mate?
Morning, Rob, I'm fine, how are you?
All right, thank you. Not
You
much
made it into
happening.
the studio okay?
Yeah, made it up there okay today. Main roads are okay. Side roads are a bit tricky, but yeah, A500's fine. Still coming down though, I think, Steve.
Yeah, still trying, mate, yeah, still trying.
And that's obviously had a massive effect on today's football.
Yeah, there's nothing at all, including our local sides. I think Congleton is the only one that was still awaiting a pitch inspection, and I think that's due for 11 o'clock, which is any time now, isn't it? So everywhere else, the Evo Stick League and other than that, North West Counties League is basically a complete whiteout. As much as I imagine that obviously they've got snow on the pitches, but there's no way they'd be able to make the surrounding areas safe in any way, shape or form. So Kidsgrove were without a game today anyway. They've got a 10-day break following last Saturday's win. They've been going quite well recently. 3 wins on the bounce, which has moved them sort of probably clear enough now, made them completely safe. Newcastle Town, like I say, they're off. Leek's game was off. Leek were due to play against a local derby today against Balper, who are only about 40 minutes over the hill. So that would have been a good game at Leek today. Leek moved up to 9th in midweek, and Balper currently sitting in the last playoff slot of 9th. That would have been interesting. And then Leek have got league leaders Colville at home on Tuesday night, all being well. Whilst Kidsgrove make an unenviable trip to Kings Lynn on a Tuesday night. I've no idea what time they're attempting to set off.
Lovely.
Probably 3 in the afternoon.
What a drag that is on the midweek game. I bet.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that's been caused by a postponement, but it's a fair old jaunt, that is, midweek.
Yeah, I bet the management team love that one. Steve, you talked about Newcastle Town earlier. They've pulled a couple of players in. Stone Dominoes striker Dwayne Spencer and Old Alanians midfielder Luke Askey.
Yeah. Well, Luke is Rob's son, Rob Askey's son. Rob, anybody who's known local football for any length of time will know Rob. Played at Macclesfield Town when they were in the non-league before they made promotion into the football league, and then obviously their subsequent demotion. Askey family well known, obviously Port Vale connections.
Yeah, he's great. Well, his grandfather played in that 53-54 FA Cup final side.
And Rob's younger brother, John, has also made a career at football level. I think he's still coaching at Macclesfield Town, actually. So, yeah, good dynasty there from the Askies. I don't know Luke personally, but he's obviously been doing quite well. I think John Diskin's sort of prepared to have a little look at him, probably with an eye to next season. And Dwayne Spence, he's done the rounds in terms of pretty much all the local clubs, to be honest. Had a couple of spells at Stone Dominoes. Big, powerful lad, plays up front. With bags of ability, and I think sometimes people have questioned his attitude a little bit, but John seems to think he's going to be worthwhile, and they've come to an arrangement whereby he's on sort of a loan from Stone Dominoes, but if fixtures permit, he's going to play for both clubs. Obviously, they're in separate leagues, so if fixtures and time permits, he's going to try and still help Stone Dominoes out as well till the end of the season. Yeah,
I think Dave Dale, the Newcastle manager, said Newcastle boss John Diskin's been extremely fair to us over this matter. He's given us Dwayne's given us an awful lot. He deserves an opportunity at an higher level, and he'll get that with Newcastle. So that's good to see local clubs supporting each other in that manner.
Yeah, and I think, John's been quite good to Stone throughout the season. He's loaned a number of players out there during this season, for odd games, and probably working both ways. Like I say, lads perhaps not getting a game so much, and helping Stone Dominoes to try and consolidate their position or save their position in the Premier Division of the North West Counties.
Okay, all the big news in the Sentinel this week is someone called Steve Norris has become a director of Leek Town. Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, thanks very much.
We know you've been involved, and every other week during the home games you're there, up at Leek, supporting in the boardroom and that sort of thing. So, what does the role involve, Steve?
Well, basically, I got asked by the chairman a few weeks ago if the AGM was coming up, would I be prepared to stand as a board member? Obviously, Leek's a limited company, so it needs a board of directors in order to work. I'm going to carry on helping out with the hospitality side of things on a match day. I've also taken on quite a bit of the sort of fire safety regulations and ensuring that we comply on that side of things, which is obviously from my own background. Called on a couple of favours from old mates who've pointed me in the right direction of where we need to be, and that's work ongoing, hopefully to show that by the end of this coming season the ground is fully compliant with all the regulations it needs to be in. Not that it isn't at the moment, but there's some areas that needed improvement, and that's what I'm working on at this moment in time. But in terms of the general stuff, mate, it's just another pair of hands. I think I said to you a while back, Rob, Leek's always been my sort of club. Played nearly 400 games there, and whenever I go back or whenever I've been back in the past, they've always made me very welcome. So I'm really chuffed, to be fair, to go and think I can make a difference somewhere along the line and just help them, consolidate the position and hopefully in the future to try and move on. I know Andy, the chairman, Andy Wayne's very keen to try and get to the next level, to the Evo Stick Premier Division with the likes of Stafford Rangers and Nantwich Town that we cover. So that's the sort of medium-term goal, and a lot of people working, very hard behind the club, all voluntary. So that's part of non-league life. I think all clubs need a number of people who are just going to give up their time and go the extra mile for them. So I've joined that happy band.
And in terms of Neil Baker's involvement, is he still knocking about? Is he? Cause I know he's really back in the fold at Crewe, and he's helping them with the Wembley jaunt and things like that, mate. He's a lot more involved than he used to be at Crewe.
Yeah. Neil's actually a board member as well at Leek. So he's still seeing a few of the games. If there's not a fixture clash with Crewe and Leek are playing, Neil will be there. I think he still acts, both Leek as well and Matt Beebe. Matt's actually Neil's son-in-law, the assistant manager's Neil's son-in-law. So I think they bounce ideas off Baker all the time, and he's always willing to give a bit of advice, a bit of guidance along the way. And obviously, because of his full-time job, he's got a massive range of contacts, and he sees players. He watches non-league games. That's been one of his great things while he's been at Crewe. He's pulled a number of players out of non-league. So, occasionally he's able to point the management team at someone who might be able to do a job at Leek. And at Leek have signed Lee Morris in the back end of this week, and Lee, ex-Sheffield United and Derby County player. He's coming over for the remainder of the season with a view to next season.
And prospects for the remainder of the season, Steve, is it a big ask to get into the playoffs, or is that still outside hope?
It is a big ask. I think following they won 3-0 on Tuesday night against Stamford, who were at the time were second in the league, have now dropped to third in the league. That means they've done the double over that side. And obviously we were very buoyed by that, and the feelings around the ground was that we could still make it. But realistically, it's going to need. It's 9 to play. They probably need to win 7 of the 9.
Yeah.
And maybe then need a little bit of help somewhere along the way. And I mentioned last week when I was in the studio that it was a tough week for them. They lost at Kings Lynn last Saturday. We were also in the top 3. Beat Stanford on Tuesday night. Should have been Belper today, who are currently in the last playoff slot of 5th. And then they run in. They've got the league leaders Colton home Tuesday night. Weather permitting. So, the fixtures don't get any easier, but if they could, go on a little bit of a run now and take points off those sides above them, that might just see them push close. Again, it's a difficult one for me. My heart says I'd love to get there, and my head says just left ourselves a bit too much to do.
Well, it's best looking up than looking down. I think you're fairly secure in that respect. So it's it's always nice, and if you could put a run together of something like 7 wins, obviously be getting into the playoffs in form. Yeah,
it would be, and also, I mean, I think it's Lee Caswell's and Matt Beebe's first full season in charge. Obviously, Neil was there for the beginning of last season before he got recalled to his primary role at Crewe. And they've done okay, you know what I mean? They can be quite pleased with what they've done. Good little runs in the FA Cup and FA Trophy, so they earned the club a little bit of money early in the season. And then, you know, they've been in that not lower than 14th, other than the start of the season when they were miles behind the games. They're sort of not lower than 14th, not much higher than 8th, but they've sat in that group for most of the season. And I'm sure they've both learned something along the way, you know, their first season and full season of management at that level. So a good end to the season. We'll do a number of things. It'll obviously, like I say, maybe make a late challenge for the playoffs. It'll add some confidence around the club in terms of looking ahead to next season. And it certainly makes it easier when you're trying to attract players in the summer. If you finish 7th, it's easier to attract somebody than if you finish 17th.
Definitely. Okay, Steve, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you get back to clearing the snow or...
Whatever.
Sitting there watching the no sport on the TV. But yeah, it's thank you very much and congratulations again, Steve, on your directorship at Leek Town.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Okay, speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Ta-ra.
You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.